you doing, Internet? I'm B-Nuts, and today we'll be taking a look at Kotobukya's Mobile Support Goods Heavy Weapon number 12, the Gunblade Lance. This is another modular weapon from Kotobukya that's designed to be used with their frame arms and frame arms girls, as well as probably their Megami device. And you can see it here in some of its various modes, as well as here all of the components that it comes with. It's recommended for ages over 14 years old. It depends on that 14-year-old. This kit does come with clear parts in two choices. It's clear and the light purple that you see here as well. So you can choose what you want to do and what kind of look you want to have with this weapon. And as you see it here is in the default clear purple, and that does look pretty good. But if you want different options, as I said, you can go for that as well. So if you want this appearance instead, you can use a blue Sharpie to get this and use the metallic blue that comes with the default metallic set. It is GM153. And if you want the slightly brighter blue, it is this lighter metallic blue, GM17200. It's slight on the camera, but it's much more apparent in person. Let me show you what this sort of thing can do, but I do have to mention with the hands that only certain type of high-grade hands are going to fit this. This comes from the 1.5 Gundam. This is from the Kamiki Burning. With the custom Gundam that I built for this, it uses 00 parts as well, and the 00's hands are too small for this. As well, the no-grade Grimguard grips this half very loosely. Up here is a little bit better, but it's still pretty loose. So I would not recommend using it with 1:100 scale no grades. The big issue that you can expect with trying to get this into the hand here is that there is no tab or other way to secure it with the hand. So when it comes to posing, you're going to have to deal with a lot of finagling if you're going to do this. And it's going to drop it just like that. So probably the best gunpla to use it with are high grades with slightly larger hands. Now this is its full form. Construction is fairly simple. There are a couple challenges which you're likely to encounter. One is that as you're constructing it, you will at first have the front blade like this, and that will be out, and you will have it like this. And that is one possible configuration for the front, but it wants you, and I may as well show what that all looks like that. And that's really not that bad, and I do kind of like it. But it wants you to use this blade with it. And that means moving that down so that this part is joined. And then you put that in there and put on all the rest. And that was the form that you were seeing before. The other challenge you may find from time to time, I guess it depends on the copy, is with the side blades here. I have one that wouldn't go all the way in. So it's kind of stuck like that. That's the furthest it could go in. So it is slightly longer than the other side, but it's still fairly solid. Out of the 4 that I have, this is the only one that has that problem. And that's a frame arms girl. for other forms, first I need to take that out. And one of the forms is an X. And it's basically like that. Just that. And another form is a sword, so you take that off. And make sure you've got it so that those blades go in from that side, because they can't do it from here. The part that's for the handle on the other side. And you have a sword. And it looks rather nice, and it can be held in a high-grade hand. The one thing you do have to look out for is when you're putting it back on the arm, these will likely impact with the arm, and in doing so, cause the hand to separate out again. If you need to, you can use the shaft again to give it a little space, and then you have a hybrid between a polearm and a sword. No, that's not all that bad either. So you have that. And you also have, of course, the gun mode, which you could have in the partially constructed form. And that's more like a blade, really. But it can act as a secondary blade that way. No. Because it's closed like that, it doesn't look particularly gun-like. And it's also secured, so you can't open it. But when you open it like that, forgot about this. Put the blade in, open it up. And either like that, or put this back on. And even put the axe head. Nope. That's not going to connect when there's nothing down there. So the gun is going to be just like that. So if you wanted to have it split apart so that your model or figure can use the gun and the sword separately, you can do it like that. And then you would just put the handle in like that. And then even if you wanted to, you could still use the shaft because it's got a little pointy end there. So it makes a decent emergency weapon. Only thing that is kind of awkward is that you have this piece left over. I mean, you could stick it in like that into one of the remaining ports, but that's no longer a sword. It would be kind of like a blade sword like that, or a funnel, maybe. But that is no longer a sword. And there aren't any ports it can really secure to on there. This you might want to glue. You could do it like that. And now to pull everything back together to its original configuration, make sure the hole for the gun is that way. Going to have to move this up so that we can move the handle away and clear that. You may want to paint that, the cartridge barrel. And this can go back on. Yeah, I can see wanting to glue this part. I mean, like, seriously, it keeps on falling off. because it doesn't have that much area to grip onto, and it really doesn't have any sort of solid connection. It doesn't click in or anything. As you can see, it's fairly easy to bring it back into its full form as it is there, even without a manual, because there are only a certain number of ways that this makes sense pulled back together. You can see there are some pegs on here that you can use as some extra storage options, perhaps. Not for the whole thing, I think. Just for the sword modes. I'm thinking if you wanted to put it into storage onto your model, and you have a standard 3-inch hole, you can use it like that. And this one is definitely my favorite coloration, because it's nice and bright and shiny, and I like the way it reflects light. So anyway, that about does it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, you can leave a like, comment below what you thought, subscribe to my channel, or go to my Patreon to show your support, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!